Heather, I'm so sorry to bring you in at that particular moment. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you
Happy
too.
Easter, and it's lovely to see you. I've finished my tea.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you again.
Heather, you are obviously you're the founder of the Women's Rights Network, and you've recently been associated. I'm not sure what is the position of the Women's Rights Network with the Respect My Sex campaign. What is your position with them?
Okay, I'll come on to that in a minute, but I'm going to give you some good news that I got this afternoon that you've probably missed because you've been setting up. But I got sent by one of my team that you'll know the story of the family sex show. I had something on the site very recently. Hey, good news.
Has it?
No, it's cancelled because in recent days there's been unacceptable threat and abuse directed at both company and the venues hosting the production by a small minority.
I don't think that's why it's being cancelled.
Again, it's getting
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I don't think that's the reason.
It's getting so you cannot take your clothes off in front of an audience of children without there being some sort of repercussions.
Go figure.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
I thought you'd be pleased to know that, and any viewers haven't caught that up. So it's
just a very brief thing about that, Heather. May I say, right, that the people in the family sex show, they may well be the most well-intentioned people in the world.
Absolutely.
And there may be nothing wrong with the show. But the thing is, we have safeguarding rules in schools and in places where these types of things are presented for a reason.
And we've been down this road before. In history, you do not introduce children to sex, even if you think you're doing it out of some sense of virtue. The people who are behind this often have ulterior motives,
Well, listen, come back to safeguarding later. So, ask me about it later. But women's rights, so what was it? The Respect My Sex campaign.
Yes.
So there's 3 groups. The campaign itself is called Respect My Sex. That is not a separate group. That's the campaign, and you see the slogans everywhere, all over the place. The 3 groups that are running the campaign are Women Uniting, and they're a group of women members of the UK's political parties that are working inside the political parties. They're gender critical. They're against this ideology. So all parties have people. So say to your people, don't give up on the political parties. That is one of the things that has to be attacked. There's so many different front lines in this war that we're in. That is one of them. Now, so in political parties, not 100% of the people in those political parties believe in this ideology. So there are people that have stayed in, Rosie Duffield in Labour, for instance. There are plenty more that have stayed with the party, unlike me, who left the party I was a member of.
Which one was that? Heather?
That's not important, Graham.
Okay, fair enough.
So the Women Uniting are political women inside political parties that are trying to cut through this stuff. The second group is Sex Matters. I don't think I need to call it Sex Matters. It's Maya.
Helen's mug.
Yep.
Now the lovely Helen Joyce is Director of Advocacy at Sex Matters, so she's involved in it. It's Caroline Fisk is representing Women Uniting. So although Caroline Fisk is from one specific political party, she is representing them all under the Women Uniting banner. So and there is, I think, this week or from now, we'll have more involvement from the Labour reps and hopefully the Lib Dem reps as well, getting their voices out and out. And then there's us, which is the Women's Rights Network. Now, the 3 of us, the campaign has been hugely successful. I mean, it's just beyond what we ever thought we would achieve.
Right.
Really.
Oh, fantastic.
We'd be trending. We'd be accused of being bots again, Russian bots. Trending, as we have successfully, the lovely women in the network have successfully done before. We didn't think we're never going to make a difference. We're never actually going to make a difference now, but we'll start getting the message out. And then by the time the general election comes, we'll have gained momentum, and that's when maybe we'll make a difference. Well,
Heather,
it's just been phenomenal.
It's been amazing.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
Wait. Sorry, are you saying you thought you wouldn't make a difference, but now you're realizing you did? Because it seems to me like the campaign has been unbelievable.
Genuinely, I think that Boris Johnson statement was on the back of this. You know, the timing was just too you know, it was just too coincidental, wasn't it? He saw it because of why wouldn't you? You were in the mail for like days, which was superb. Everyone saw it.
Boris has made the statement. Keir Starmer appears to be rolling back. Jess Phillips appears to be softening her line, although not quite. There are saying that they got message. Before, and I can't say, before I go any further, I want to say that the three of us are working on this Respect My Sex campaign, the three organisations, and the hundreds of women behind it, thousands of women behind it, are just doing a phenomenal job. But it's not new. We just happen to have hit, I think, timing as things were turning, and there are countless numbers of people and organizations that have come before that have fought down this battle. So in no way am I going to stand here and say we made this happen. We just happen to be at the crest of that wave when
absolutely
the walls started coming down. So
as Jane Clare Jones would always say, pull. We've all been pulling for 6 years, and this
absolutely. So it's not that we have made a difference because we've suddenly hit the button that works. It's not.
But then again, you will be
everyone
in history. You'll be the one who hit the button.
But this is important around the world.
Can I just say Sharon Stone?
Sure. What, has she come on board?
That's who I want to play me in the film.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't lower the camera, Heather. I don't know what you're wearing. But
this affects the whole planet. This isn't just in the United Kingdom. Canada needs to see what's going on.
Sorry.
Like everywhere around the world, what's happening in the UK is going to trigger dominoes around in other countries. So it's just so monumental, so momentous. And the Boris Johnson statement, I think, is particularly interesting because I can see people in their opposing parties suddenly seeing that he's got this open goal.
Yep.
And then they're going to run. You know, I can see Keir Starmer going, "Oh shit! It turns out women. I need."
Well,
them
may I say?
And they obviously did. They did because Jess Phillips suddenly with her. Sorry, Graham. Just wanted to say like that. I mean, it was. What do you mean? Of course, women can't have a penis, and you're like, seriously, like fucking seriously? No. I mean, I'm glad she said it. Yeah. But it was the laughable sort of, oh, are you talking? This is ridiculous. Was really quite. I was like, you know, side eye.
We've got
but still,
there's a video somewhere. Was it a Mumset interview she had that was videoed when she first did the trans women or women claim when you actually saw her capitulate to the movement.
Yeah, well, that was probably in the days where she didn't realize what she was giving away. I mean, you know, like I think a lot of people have been through that journey a little bit, who've come from thinking that trans women or women was just a nice thing you say about transsexuals without realizing that you're supposed to say it about that Tory bloke, Jamie Wallace.
Oh yeah,
Graham. Most people still think that.
Yes, I know.
One of my beefs says I think we need to try and change the language. We've the ideology has changed the language, and they've tried to force us to use it. And to a degree, we have used it. We say trans women. Yes. I personally do not think the word woman should be used in any way.
No, I agree with you, man.
I agree. The only reason we use
male-born people with a penis. Male-born people with a penis. Let's go with that one.
Yeah, or trans-identified male. I always like.
Trans-identified male.
But people don't understand that. People understand transsexual.
Yeah, I know.
If you said to somebody transsexual, they know what you mean. And if you say to somebody transvestite or cross-dresser, they know what you mean. So
yeah. But they also do this thing, you see. It's not even that simple, because what they'll do is they'll say, well, the people who haven't fully transitioned, they're just waiting for an operation. And they use stories that people only dimly understand, like the waiting lists at the Tavistock, to sell this stuff. But there's some people...
it's not that they don't want to transition. It's that they're just so tragically can't get it done yet. It's like, no, they have no intention. Yeah.
I think you're right, but there is a difference in the method of communication. So on Twitter, yes. In the outside world, in the media, in the press, where the voting public are going to see it, no, they don't get to say that. Yeah. They hear translate. So that's kind of, and we don't need to, forget, we're not going to win the battle on Twitter. We're never going to win on Twitter, but it's a good practice ground.
I do think Twitter is an interesting place that we should all kind of keep an eye on, really, because, especially if Musk takes over, because like we this whole thing has happened because of all these kind of thought terminating cliches were developed on Tumblr, but they were spread through Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter is where all the blue check journalists started taking them up and started using phrases like biological essentialism. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of posh one. That's the ones that the New York Times writers will use. But like, the all these things, I think that Twitter could be a great platform. I think it's I mean, we have to remember that many of us met through Twitter, and we kind of formed these connections through Twitter.
Our whole network, Women's Rights, is based on Twitter. We now have 2,000 people on our mailing list from our website. The campaign has generated people that want to join. We can't hope that we are all our volunteers. We haven't a penny comes in the door. It's all voluntary, and it's just absolutely incredible what the women of the Women's Rights Network.
Well, I think, I mean, I'm a terrible optimist, and I just think the brilliant thing about all of this is that women will never let their guard down again.
Oh, never.
No. I mean, when you see how easily these rights could have been taken away, and how they have been taken away in places like Ireland and Canada, has Australia got self-ID yet? I
don't know. It's that close. It's not. I think they might be holding out against it, but it's not in a good way. It's not.
No, it's another one that's properly captured. But I just think that sorry, what was I going to say? I did have a point there, but it's drifted away. I'm so sorry.
But what I wanted to say about the Women's Rights Network is that there's something really special about it. Is that we're putting women physically together. Women are meeting other people locally.
Yes,
and there's real power in let's say power in a union. But there's sort of 2 or 3 of you. That's a committee. And you can get things done, and you can go places. You can go to libraries and schools, and you can talk. And it's not just you, and you can, you can throw ideas around, and you can talk to others, and you can bring people in. And it's the most brilliant thing. Brilliant.
What's happened to just about every woman in the network was I was just one of them. I was sitting, looking at Twitter, watching you guys, argue all the week. And so frustrated that I couldn't do anything. There was I could send an email to somebody, I could, donate to somebody's crowdfunder, but I couldn't do anything. I was getting really, really frustrated. And then this network came out. I'm not the founding member. I'm kind of
a founding member, I should say.
Founding member, yeah. And it came along. Now I just happened to be, I don't know, I'm a bit bossy or who knows what, but I thought, what do we need to do now? All these women are starting to talk. How are we going to help them decide what to do next? So we started building resources to help them. And then this machine, that's a small machine, cheap machine of the Women's Rights Network started. But women around the country chatting online, meeting up, as Helen said, meeting up, having a coffee, or
coffee.
Who knows, coffee, yes. And running this, we've had a number of campaigns, the Christmas campaign, which was magnificent, and they just loved going out into the shops and putting our leaflets and everything, getting pictures of it, posting them online. And this campaign is just fabulous. There's so many pictures that are coming through, and you should follow us on Twitter if you're not already. There's some brilliant photographs coming through. Right. Wales were out yesterday with their things. There's beaches, there's ribbons going up everywhere. It's just phenomenal.
One of the things that I started off thinking, this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun to get a knock on the door and run down and give someone a piece of my mind about what's going on. But then I kind of realized through all the reports coming in that many of these people who are doorstepping for these political parties, they have no idea. They have no idea what's going on. What kind of stories have you been hearing back about people on the doorstep?
Well, first of all, my own story, which happened about a month before the election, when a councillor came round to me, Lib Dems, and I said, "Well, no, because it was more than a month. It was just after the debate about the keeping prisons single sex, which was withdrawn. Blencathra withdrew in the House of Lords. I'm sure you'll remember that." I said, "No, this is going on, and you happily support men going into it." He said, "Oh no, I don't think so." I said, "Yeah, that wouldn't happen." I said, "Yes, here," and I gave them the stuff and went. So yes, the people that are on the ground, they don't. I mean, some of them do, obviously, but not all. Stories we've heard. There's brilliant stuff, brilliant debates. A number of candidates are going against what a party line has been.
Right.
A number of candidates have just run away.
Right. Yes, of course.
So it's we know that briefing materials have been for candidates have been amended.
Okay, that's
in
good.
To the questions. Now, I don't know whether that's across the country or just in specific areas that they've done that, but there's a bit more preparation put in. You can expect these questions to come up from place to place.
Yes, I wonder if it's worth. I mean, people might now be so used to the "what is a woman" question that it might be worth coming at it from a different angle. I would like to ask. Politicians what trans means, because
I would like to ask that too, Graham. And I think that's a great question.
Yeah,
I've often thought, if I get the opportunity, rather than saying, I thought maybe this is it's a dream, but David Lammy has a radio show on a Saturday. And I thought, if Labour are beginning to turn, maybe he'd want to talk to somebody like me, and they could, they could convert live on air. That's not happening yet, but I'm hoping.
I doubt it will, and even if it does, he'll lie and said it didn't, because he did that to a woman.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk to them dinosaurs.
We did a story. He held a woman's hand and said women's rights are safe in Labour's hands, something like that, while she was crying over this subject. And then he said it wasn't a doorstep issue. So I don't trust him as far as I can spin him.
I don't think. But my question to him would be, what is a trans woman?
Yeah. I think we should start asking that.
We can ask some very specific questions, like, is Philip Bunce a rich 1%er banking executive, father of two? Is that a woman? Is Eddie Izzard a woman? This is the world's most famous cross-dresser.
Well, as Stella Creasy said to me, well, Graham, I don't think he identifies as a woman. But which wasn't the fucking question, Stella.
No.
The question was,
the point, isn't it?
Is he a woman? Because you will never say no, whereas I would, because I'm not.
Whereas my
is a woman, depending on what film opportunity he gets.
Exactly.
Because if he's a male, he's going to get paid more.
As I always say, he's not meeting Spielberg dressed as a woman. I promise you that. He's not going into Spielberg's offices with a pink beret and some fucking flamingo lipstick. You know what I mean?
Facts. Women's rights facts. Here we are. So you talked about Philip Bunce party. In 2018, he was awarded a place on the list of top 100 women in business by the Financial Times.
Good for him.
The first woman.
Just kidding.
The first woman on the stock exchange. It was 1973.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so recent.
That's not long ago at all.
They think they can play about with this. It's just utterly mind blowing. That women, we can't have something for ourselves. They've got to take it.
It's mind-blowing in so many ways. That 1973 is so recent, but also that people think that they're defending vulnerable gay and lesbian minorities who are so hard done by. This is a 1%er. This is a top-level banking executive who is just indulging in the luxury of cross-dressing in the office.
Yeah, this is just, of course it is. It's ridiculous. But I wanted to say that I had a Labour chap on the doorstep, and he was I said immediately that I had massive problems with the Labour Party, and I explained why, and he said, well, actually, I agree with you. I agree with you that
that's what I got. I got
that. I agree with you. And I will take it back. I mean, he tried to sort of hold me hostage and say, but the main opponents to Labour here are the Tories, so you'll be handing it into them. And I said, well, honestly, I'd rather spoil my ballot. So it's neutral, but I'm not going to be held hostage.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil my ballot because
if they won't say it. So
I'm going to vote for the
very good.
I'm going to vote for the party who will defend women's rights, and at the moment, that's the Conservatives. During the war, during the Second World War, you wouldn't be voting. You'd be voting for Churchill. You'd want Churchill to stay in power.
I want to make clear that it's local elections, mostly across the UK. Scotland local elections are slightly different because there's a whole set of different circumstances going on in Scotland. We mustn't forget, and local authorities have a different set of responsibilities. So things slightly different there. In Northern Ireland, it is not local elections; it's assembly elections. So it's very different there, and it's very important. There are some places in Ireland that just do not have a rational, logical, sensible offering because there's no representation from the one party that backs women's rights. There's no representation across Northern Ireland. So it's
and Sinn Féin are absolutely Kool-Aid swallowing lunatics on this as well. Yeah.
So it's really tough there. There's some really bad.
I saw a woman saying that she would vote for the DUP. She said, "I'm actually thinking of voting for the DUP." And anyone who put the word in front of "I'm actually thinking of" in front of voting for the DUP is a Catholic, And you're in a stage now where you have Catholics who are going to vote for the main sectarian party, or at least they used to be. I'm not sure what they're like anymore, but the main sectarian party in the Northern Ireland because they're standing up for women's rights. And then you have these idiots saying, "Why are we talking about these unimportant issues?" You have people who are willing to cross the floor over this. They don't get it. It's crazy,
Yeah.
But they've been blinded so long. And someone, may I read you something? It's just a very quick thing. If I can, I hope I didn't. Go on, you go ahead, and I'll tell you. I'll read this to you when I find it. No, I found it. Look, this is Matt Taibbi. He wrote about. He's been writing about the Elon Musk possibly buying Twitter, and he says, "The site used to be fun, funny, and a great tool for exchanging information. Now it feels like what the world would be if the 8 most vile people in Brooklyn were put in charge of all human life, a giant, hyper-pretentious thought Starbucks. My blue-checked friends in media worked very, very hard to create this thriving intellectual paradise. So, of course, they're devastated to imagine that a single rich person could even try to walk in and upend the project. Couldn't Musk just leave the Twitter in the hands of responsible free speech protecting shareholders like Saudi Prince Alawid bin Talal?" And it's true that we've had a number of years now where, like, the big thing, I think the real reason that Elon, they're so frightened of Elon Musk coming in is, with any luck, it'll mean a lot of women suddenly get back onto the platform. A lot of women whose voices have been silenced. A lot of people who've been allowed to be smeared in their absence, like Posey Parker, Holly Lawford Smith, and Megan Murphy, and Miranda Yardley.
It is awful what has happened to women. And I said when we did the launch in Victoria Gardens near Parliament Square that one of the main reasons we're getting towards an achievement when women do not need to hide behind masks.
Yes.
Behind Twitter handles. It upsets me beyond belief that this is happening to women right now and they cannot speak out.
Yeah.
And that's why I do, because I was like, I said they can't cancel me. I don't have a job to lose. I'm economically, okay. And it's just beyond belief. Oh, there was something else I was going to tell you about. I'm sorry, because I know you're probably going to kick me off soon and start. But I don't know if you noticed from the Times today.
It is the longest I've had to put up with a woman speaking for a long time. Since my divorce.
Go on, Helen.
Go on, Heather.
So the Times today announced the big Jubilee read in advance of the Queen's Jubilee celebrations. So it's a list of books that they reckon you should be reading. Guess who's not on it?
J.K. Rowling.
Wait a second. Sorry, the Times did this list?
The Times Big Jubilee read, they call it.
Wow, that's interesting. Maybe it's just an oversight. How many books are in it? 2,000.
I think about 70 or something like that.
70, and J.K. Rowling's on there.
I remember. I didn't the thing.
I don't know. Is that necessarily But is that necessarily, because the Times is pretty good on this stuff? Is that necessarily a thing, or maybe they just?
It depends who compiled the list, really, doesn't it?
Really.
You know, well, I'll tell you what. If Sean fucking Fay is on there, then they can go fuck themselves.
I should think so. I've got so many more points to make, but I won't. I'll just keep that.
No, Heather, come on. It's okay. I'm all right. We're done in there. Let me ask one question before we wrap it up. But let's use it to try and get as much as you can into this, Heather. Like, Respect My Sex is going very well. What are your plans? What do we do next once all this stuff is on the ropes? How do we kind of follow it up?
What's the next?
How are you going to follow it up? What's next for the group?
I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret.
Oh really? Oh God. Okay. So that was actually a dead end.
We're going to be doing campaigns. We've got a Jubilee campaign to finish up. So that's Save Our Spaces. You'll love it. The merchandise is already for sale. Go and see it. All I'm going to say is Sex Pistols. Never mind the bollocks. Think of that. Brilliant. Okay. You'll want to get the mug, Arty.
Oh my God. Okay, right. Good.
And then, and then after that, but immediately after this campaign, we're going to sit down and work out what we did wrong.
Yeah, and never let it happen again.
Because we did do things, we have done things wrong. How we can improve and start working on the general election, because we could get a general election without much notice, and so
I agree.
We need to start working on that. We need to get more. We're developing a non-Twitter. I'm not quite sure what the answer is. Twitter is good because the women that join the network have got security from Twitter, and so they can be private. And we've got a lot of women who are in very vulnerable positions and don't want it known outside. So we've got to integrate the non-Twitter people that have come through the website because, as Helen said, they want to talk, they want to meet locally and do things that's far more effective. And it's a huge relief having the comfort blanket of people that you can talk to.
And can I say, Heather, as well, that it's a shame it took this to do it, this unbelievable assault on women's rights to do it. But I really like the idea that there's a group of committed and energized women who are organizing. And I hope, my biggest hope for the next decade is that you don't have to be fighting insulting, offensive battles like this one and put it to good use.
Yeah.
As always,
no, I totally agree.
Very proud to be on your side, Heather. If you ever want to come on and talk about anything else, let us know.
Thanks, Graham. I will. Thanks so much for having me on. And what you have done and the years that you have put in has not gone unnoticed by. I think most of it is. It's just been, you've been shouting, you've been, blowing the horn out there and doing that. And I know it's a huge personal cost, and I appreciate it because you're one of the people that's helped to get us to this place.
Oh, well, thank you. That's really kind of you. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.